Hi everyone. Today we are going to see how to do a hands-on for integrating AI related tools for a DevOps pipeline, or how AI is integrated in day-to-day working activity for a DevOps engineer. There are a lot of videos which have been created around AI, and those videos are very good, but most of them talk about the theoretical aspect, like what is AI and how is machine learning done, what is generative AI and things like that, which is good. But from the perspective of hands-on, I didn't find much information available, and hence I thought, let me give it a try. I don't have any PPT or agenda in my mind, so I am just going to create something from scratch, and I will create a web application from scratch using AI. I will build it, then I would probably test it, create the required infrastructure needed for this application hosted in cloud computing service, hosted as a cloud computing service, um, and then make it accessible to the public while following the standard practices of DevOps. And I'm going to use multiple tools, which I generally also use in my day-to-day exercise. And these tools are not only related to ChatGPT and Gemini, okay? There are multiple Copilot tools available. Some of them create the code for you, some of them set the context, some generate the infrastructure, some even generate the system designs. And that's what I'm going to show it to you. So yeah, let's get started. Let's do this hands-on. Okay, so we start with having a repository because we need to have our code base. So I will create a new repository. Let me call it demo AI. It's a public repository and I will create it, right? And then on my desktop, let's go. I will create one folder and I will call it um, demo AI. Okay. And this is where we are going to initialize the source code. So we have to start from the developer's perspective. There has to be an application which we will take as a POC. So we will first get introduced to a tool which is a developer specific tool, but again, DevOps also use it. I'll show you how and when that plugin is integrated. And for that, we first need to have Visual Studio Code open. So let me come here and then I can just directly go here, open folder, select my desktop and select that application. All right, perfect. So I have no files here, nothing. And I am looking for AI, let's say plugin, which will help me to even create the software. All right. So there are multiple options. Generative AI is the favored option at the moment. But with generative AI, you don't have the option of context. Just now you selected a folder. Now this folder can become a context for your extension. And the first tool that we are going to use is something called Codium. All right. Codium, let me just show its website to you. Codium here. This is a free AI tool which is based on, again, all the AI technologies. And you can read about this. It's a complete toolkit even for developers, for DevOps engineers. What I'll show you is how to integrate it. So you generally have two options. You have either Codium or Copilot. Both of them are very nice tools. This guy is free, so that's why I am showing this to you right now. And it has a lot of capabilities, as we will see. You can do this thing in generative AI like ChatGPT as well. So if I go here and I say, um, let's say, write me a web application that is able to do, let's say, arithmetic computations and is also able to run on a remote server, or let's say browser. Okay. you can take any application for this as an example. So the application needs to have at least a couple of layers, so UI layer and a backend layer. I take Arithmetic as a simple application because we are not going to be judged by the quality of code that we write. In fact, we are not writing the code that CSS, HTML, and Python would be written by the interpreter. What we have to do is how to integrate all of this together and how to make use of the toolkits that are available in the market. So again, it's giving you a lot of options, this and that. But here, the folder that we talked about, that we created, that folder is not directly connected to ChatGPT, okay? And that is what becomes crucial for us. Let me start from scratch. Here, when you install this application, it comes as an extension. So you have to go in your Visual Studio Code. It's available in other platforms, other IDs as well. Go to Codium, and then because this is already installed for me, you just will get an install option here. The setup is pretty simple. Follow that. And once you do the setup, you will be able to see it here, and you will be able to see it here. So it has three, let's say, ways in which it interacts with you. One is chat. It creates, so you provide the instructions, it creates the format for you. Second thing is it sets the context. So I'm going to set the context as present directory. Later on, we'll set the context into file specific things. So you don't have to go outside of your code base to the chat GPT or something like Gemini. Here, integrated in your environment, you will have everything. All right. So let's ask this guy the same question. I want to have a web application that is written in Python and has a UI. So it is going to look into possible paths. Again, this is neural nodes. I'm not going to talk about AI and how ML is a part of AI, or it's a AI is the superset, ML is a subset, and then inside that you have other subsets. A lot of theoretical videos are already available there, so you can go and check them out. Basically, what it is doing is it's finding the relevant path based on the module, right? So good, it's taking Flask, which is good. And Flask is a web server for Python, and it's creating a file app.py, and then that app.py I can use. And because I didn't give it the context of what that application has to do, it just created a simple hello. Let's say uh, the application has to do arithmetic. Okay, pardon my spelling. Now it should do add, subtract. Yes. So exactly same thing what you got from ChatGPT, but there it's an external entity. Now here with this plugin, this is part of your code. So all you need to do is first let it complete and then verify what it has given to us. Looks good to me. You can make the modifications if you are comfortable with coding. Else you can just copy paste as is what it has given. So for the sake of this, just give me 1 second. Control Z. Oops. Hmm. So for the sake of this example, I will just take as is, copy, or I can do it from here also. All you have to do is go back to here and then write, it said app.py, and in the app.py we will just copy paste the code, and you will say control V. All right, cool. And we can save this guy. Again, if you look at the information that ChatGPT, I mean, this is giving in JavaScript. If we say, I want this application in Python, it is going to be more or less same. Okay. All you need to do is just make the necessary adjustments, and This guy is also giving us the result in Flask, and again, it's more or less the same. You can just understand if there are any changes that are needed. It's saying that, hey, put the templates inside here, index.html, so create a folder structure. Same thing this tool is able to give us, but with this tool, what we have in addition is that we have the concept of context, all right? And that becomes very crucial when you are managing big source codes, because let's say I have here, I might be having 2 to 3 files, but in the actual project, I'll have hundreds of files. So I'm not going to copy paste those files over the internet into ChatGPT, right? So here, I'll set the context for that folder structure. It will automatically scan everything, and it will act as a peer programmer for me, as a co-pilot, as it's called. Okay, so let's create the folder that it was asking us to create. So I will again go back here. Let's first check this out. This looks fine. Let's go here, create. It said templates, and inside the templates I need to create index.html. All right, so let me copy the content for index.html, and I will paste it here. All right, same content that is available in my Codium. All right, so now let's save this guy first. All right, so here, if you see, active document is the current file being edited and will be used for the context. Okay, cool. So this is our one file. What is this? This is the extension. We don't need that. So let's save this. Let's save this. I can add the context. So whichever directory I want to set as the context, that will happen. Otherwise, this is the context and it is in the ready state. Now let's say I am a developer and I also want to have test cases written for this application. Okay. So what I can say is, um, can you please write me the test cases for app.py. All right. Again, it's going to go through, check the nodes, neural nodes, and generate the test cases for me. So all of the methods that are written here, it is going to generate the test cases. So your code development, in fact, your system design can also be generated using these plugins. I'll show you just now how. And you can also, right now we are talking from the perspective of developers. So whatever is the dev activity, be it coding, be it unit testing, be it let's say integration testing, you can also do that. And then you can also set code commits if you ask it. Let's say here I go, and I think the shortcut for that is, yeah, so this is the shortcut for Codium, and I'll say um, please add code commands to this file. Submit. Let it do its thing. So it will generate the entire code commit for me, and all I have to do is just either accept and reject. All right, it's as simple as that. So right now I'm rejecting it because this is our testing purpose. Now remember, I am going to use this in my local first and then in the remote server, right? So that's why I created the files in my remote first. Otherwise, what we can also do is, in fact, let's do it. I can go to here and let me initialize this guy directly. Yes, looks fine. I can just copy this guy. Right. So we have the files that we need here. Now, let me try to explain you what I am trying to do. So for any DevOps activity, you have to first understand the software development lifecycle activity. So what do we do in software development is that we have to develop a code. So this is code development. Then you have to test that code, right? Then you have to deploy that code. On a high level, this is all that there is to DevOps. From one place, let's say from a developer's laptop, the code is written, and the same thing has to reach to the end servers. Then again, of course, this is not as simple as it looks. There are hundreds of things in between. You will create the pipelines, you will create the automation, and you will deploy on the infrastructure that is hosted on Kubernetes or maybe on some cloud vendor platform or portfolio or whatever. And testing, again, it will be unit tests, integration tests, performance tests, stress tests, and whatnot. But if you have to break it down to, or let's say if you have to take a 10,000 feet overview, this is all there is. You need to have code, okay? You need to test that code and you need to deploy. Now, with infrastructure as code and with all the automations in place, these two steps also have to be coded. Okay, earlier we used to create, I mean, I'm talking about early 2000s, we used to create testing scripts and manual testing used to happen, or you used to have Jenkins tests created for automation, then a deployment of or the infrastructure creation was all manual. Most of the time, this was on-premise before AWS and Google came, and then we used to deploy this code on these infrastructures. But now for these steps, in fact, for everything, there has to be a code. So why I'm highlighting code is because I just created one repository here where I put the development code. For the ease of use, I'll create my infrastructure code also in the same repository, but ideally this should be in a different repository. So your code which is having the application logic should be separate, and the code that is having infrastructure logic should be separate. I'm not talking about promotion processes and all that stuff right now, but I'll show you the tool that is able to do that. Okay. Here we are just trying to understand the AI tool. So we saw how the code is created. In fact, you can also create a system design here. If I say, um, can you give me a system design for a web application? Okay. So if I say that, can you give me a, I am expecting it to take some time. So by the time, what we will do is we will run the server that we just created because we have to test it once. All right. So this is, and it said that I have to write Python. Was it Flask run or Python? Python, this one, let's see. Okay, I have to install Flask, right? So dependencies also should be present, which is uh, obvious. So we will install pip. I'm presuming that if we go into our AI tool, it should have told me this before. Okay, let's see. Did it mention that I have to install these dependencies? Yes. So it has already told me that, hey, you know what? You have to install these dependencies. Okay. So let's install Flask. I don't know whether I need Jinja 2 or not, but let's just say I do, and we will see what happens. All right, keep going, keep going. Then Python 3.9 is what I have. Ah, correct. So this is now running on, this basically means localhost port 80. So I created a web application which has a UI layer and a backend layer. Let's check that quickly out. And by the way, ChatGPT is also done creating the uh, system design for us. This is only good for initial level of discussion. I'll show you another tool which can create the actual infrastructure design for us. And this is a very simple design, right? So this doesn't hold that much significance in the longer run. So let's come here, paste it, voila. So we have our application. Let's say add, and this should give 15. Result is 15, and this is running on my local host. Now go back to this diagram. So I have developed the code. I have tested it with my tests, manual and automated tests, and then I have to deploy this. And for deploying something, you need to have the infrastructure. How to create the infrastructure, right? So you can create the infrastructure again using Codium, and let me show you another. awesome tool called Brainboard. Again, you can have extensions for Brainboard. Let's just start for free and understand what this guy will do. Okay, so what brain sorry for my that. What Brainboard is able to do is it is able to create the infrastructure design for you using the pre-existing templates. Our web application is very straightforward. It has a UI layer and a application layer. Here, and also in the real world, you will not have uh, this much simple architecture to create. So let's say I want a new architecture to be created, and I'll say from the templates, show me what you got. So here, if you see, there are multiple templates that are already available. And what does that mean? If I select any of this, let's say web app, do they have anything in the web app? Multi-region web application, awesome. Azure web application, this is also awesome. Let's click on this one. Okay, and I take this example. All right, let this sunk in. Here, I asked ChatGPT to create a kind of a system design for me. Okay, if you want to have initial discussions, but this is no good. Now look at this guy. It is giving you production grade system architecture already created for you. And not only that, it is also giving you the Terraform that is required to create it, right? So that's why some people say that AI is going to kill their jobs. But if you know how to make use of AI to help your day-to-day activity, then there's nothing to really worry about. But don't be naive and only say that, okay, ChatGPT or Gemini, this is AI. No, you need to know how to use these tools with your day-to-day work and how to use them in your setup. If I integrate this plugin, which is, of course, I have to pay for this, I'll show you the extension for this as well. Nothing leaves my premises. So my context is set. In fact, I can have the same Terraform code imported, and Codium can also do that, by the way. So if I go here and I say, um, I want this application to run on a remote AWS server, can you help me with Terraform scripts? No problem. It should be able to generate that based on the inputs that you have given. And if you see, it is actually even giving you user data part, remote exec. I didn't say that I needed, but it also gave me security group. So it understands that there has to be a port that has to be opened up. And did it also give me SSH? No. I was expecting it might also give me SSH from my setup. So what I'm trying to show you here is we talked about Codium, we talked about Copilot. Codium is what we are using. Then we talked about Brainboard, and here you can make use of the template, you can generate the template, and you can even, so what I'll do is I'll take the code from somewhere else and I'll import it here. It will even picturize. So if you have existing code of Terraform and you want to picturize how it looks, even that is possible. This is somewhere um, similar to what AWS does with templates, CloudFormation templates, but this guy takes it to the next level with the kind of options that it is giving you. So almost all cloud vendors, then you have Kubernetes and whatnot. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me take the Terraform output that I got from CodeM, and I will make the necessary changes as per my setup. Now remember, you will have to have a AWS account, of course, and then your Terraform needs to have connectivity with the AWS account. If you're not sure how that is done, then you should check some videos on it. There are plenty of information available on internet how to, let me call this main.tf. All right. So in the main.tf, what I will do is I would put all of that code, and I also have put a pull statement here for the repo that we created. Okay, now let's save this. I thought I already saved it, main.tf. Okay, and then let's ask Codium what all do I need to, what commands do I need to run for this Terraform? So of course I need to initialize it, I need to plan and apply it, but I'm just showing you the context that it has set. Now if you go here, the context it has set is for Terraform file. Cool. Apply, plan, and we should be good. So let's copy this guy, paste it. All right, so let it initialize. Copy this, paste it. Validation is successful. I would also like to format it. It didn't say that, but I think there was some missing match in the format. And then let's do a plan. Okay. Ouch. ls-l. Where am I again? Present working directory, cd dot dot. No, I was in the correct folder. Was I not? Yes. Let's do it again. Initialize. Now it's doing again. Okay, perfect, no problem. This is going to take some amount of time, so bear with me because it's installing certain plugins, and then we will validate. So if you go here in our folder structure, there should be Terraform related files, correct? And then what we will do is Terraform plan, all right? And let's go to our AWS. So we have 0, nothing is running. And I already have a key which I have updated here. So only changes that I did to the source code was that I provided the location of the key if I want to do SSH, and then I also provided one more thing, that is this AMI. So the AMI I had to give, so I just copied it from the AWS console. Rest everything was generated by this guy itself, even including the remote executor. All right, now let's do Terraform apply and auto approve. All right, and then we will see once this is done. So if you go back to this diagram, now what I will do is I will create one more architecture, but this time I'm saying import data. Because I now have the Terraform file created for me, I'll go here and select that main.terraform. Let's say it is a demo app, not this one. Demo AI, yeah, demo AI. And next. So we only have a couple of resources that it will pop up here, right? So we have a security group, we have our instance, but the whole idea of showing this tool to you is you can create the infrastructure using these plugins from your system itself. You can also do it from the browser, but make sure that you are making use of these AI plugins, at least for coding. So we have done the Terraform coding part. In fact, we also did the application coding. You can do testing. You can also have performance oriented tools like let's say monitoring oriented tools like Datadog and all of the other plugins integrated. Probably I'll do another video for that because this one will become too long. Whatever is part of your process and pipeline, so you are done with the development, testing, deployment, then we take it to the next level where we are going to have this infrastructure not only created on EC2, we can create it on Kubernetes, again with the help of the AI tools. Then once the application is deployed there as a pod, right, you can have AI-driven monitoring and alerting. Okay, try this hands-on, and maybe this part I will show you later. And then to finish it all up, you have to create pipelines. So you have to create automated pipelines. Again, I don't want to criticize Jenkins because I've used it for a long many years, but you can have GitHub Actions, you can have Jenkins. All of these steps, even further, you can automate. So you have AI plugins which are part of your code, and then that is triggered by the Jenkins. Yeah, how cool is that? So here, let's see, our application is actually done. Installation is done, seems like that. I have asked it to keep the server active. Let's go here. Let's see the instance. No, doesn't like it. Come on. Yes, so I have the instance running. This is my DNS. Let's copy this, select this DNS, paste it here. By default, it's port 80, and there you go. So maybe in 15-20 minutes, we were able to do entire thing with the help of AI. That's how powerful it is, and that's how useful it is. So make sure that you do the hands-on. I will share the source code of this video in the actually it's already shared in the repository, but the idea is not that you use my source code. The idea is that you should be able to generate your own source code, your own application, your own infrastructure using these 2 to 3 plugins in your code base. Okay, that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.